Welcome to the Customer Machine Podcast, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston and Yoav Ezer. Glenn is a psychologist and marketer whose companies have sold more than $30 million in consulting and has trained thousands of marketers across different niches and industries. Yoav is a programmer turned marketer whose companies have sold over $5 million in products and services. Together, they'll teach you how to systematically stand out, attract, and convert the best customers, even in brutally competitive markets. And now, here's Glenn and Yoav.
Well, say hey, this is the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston, and I am here with the inimitable Yoav Ezer, Sergeant Conversion Machine. How you doing, Yoav?
I'm just happy we got this recording started after 15 times where you couldn't stop laughing.
Sorry. I'm going to move this morning. Well, this is part two of the basic architecture of a web-based business, and in part one, we talked about how it was important, even if you were an advanced marketer, to periodically revisit the basic architecture, because what tends to happen with advanced marketers is they get very involved in fairly advanced tangents, but when advanced tangents are not based on a comprehensive, solid foundation, you're leaving money on the table and you might be putting your business at risk. And during the last episode, we talked, we presented the overall basic architecture of a web business, infrastructure architecture, whatever fancy word you want to use. But we talked about there being organic traffic and paid traffic, and mostly we talked about the opt-in page and the mailing list. And I believe we were kind of edging up on talking about how to use the blog and the pre-sale content. Does that sound correct, Mr. Machine?
Yes, we stopped exactly there. So would you like to talk about using your blog as a pre-sale device?
Either that or as a floor wax.
You can say floor wax.
I'm sorry.
Maybe
Sure.
You've said floor wax already.
Let's talk about using a blog as a pre-sale device. So first of all, in order to simplify the list, we haven't drawn arrows all over the place, but actually, in addition to the blog being and all of your organic content that demonstrates your expertise and is intended to get people to know, like, and trust you, the blog is not only there for the purpose of attracting organic traffic, it's also there for people to warm up to you. And for that reason, once you get people on the mailing list, whether they came from your opt-in page or from your blog, you will want to send them back to the blog to consume the content that you have. My blog pages, if you look at analytics and you see where people are before they purchase, the conversion rate from the blog pages is higher than just about anything else. When you can get people interested in rapidly consuming your content, it only makes sense that they're more likely to purchase your products and services. And for that reason, you can actually think of what's on the blog as pre-sales content. Now, sometimes you don't want people to jump from article to article and, spend an hour just rapidly devouring your blog. What you want to do is take them to a very special pre-sales content and give them the opportunity to consume that and only that. Pre-sales content could be a video, it could be an article, it could be an audio, it could be a cheat sheet, it could be, sometimes I give people spreadsheets that solve certain problems. I've got a really interesting spreadsheet, which we can link to if you want to, called How to Make Decisions Easier, which talks about using a harmonic mean, a kind of interesting mathematical formula to prioritize your decisions based upon the criteria that are most important to you and weighting them and kind of doing a little math about that. So there are all sorts of things that you can...
Can I stop you for a second? I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you decide which pre-sale content to use for which product or service? So how do you customize the pre-sale content for the product?
Well, when I'm designing a follow-up sequence, and I only started doing this in the last year or so, but I realized there's a core question you need to ask yourself so that the follow-up sequence coheres together and drives a particular message that's likely to get people to purchase. And that core question is, what does my prospect need to believe in order to purchase from me? And so, for example, when we are selling the Alpha Wolf Den, alphawolfden.com, which is an extremely affordable way to get direct contact from you and myself and our partner Terry Dean, we need people to believe that we genuinely care about them. We need them to believe that we genuinely know what we're talking about, that we've been very successful, that we have helped hundreds of other entrepreneurs be very successful, that we really will refund their money if they aren't happy with us, that they really will have contact to the extent that we promise them, that we really are going to show up, that we're going to make it possible for them to talk to us in a way that won't humiliate them, that it'll be easy, that there's going to be a kind of warmth and group cohesion within the group itself so that they can get joint venture opportunities and networking opportunities, and that it really is affordable and worth the money. So we make a list of that, we kind of prioritize those beliefs, and then for each one of those beliefs we ask ourselves, well, what type of follow-up content would be most appropriate to foster this belief? So if the question, for example, is that if the belief that I want to foster is that yes, we can and have genuinely helped hundreds of other people to be successful, the best type of content would be a case study. So ideally, I get 3 other people who we have helped go from 6 figures to 7 figures, or people that we've helped to start a business, and we interview them and we cut out all the highlights, and we prepare ideally, it depends how much time and energy you really want to put into all this, so it kind of depends on what the reward is and how big the list is and how much you want it to work. But ideally, this is a video, and you might have some talking head video content of those case studies from those people themselves, because that'll be the most believable, and they're talking about how they were struggling and they couldn't solve this particular problem, and they were a little frightened that maybe Glenn and Yoav and Terry didn't know what they were talking about, but they heard other people raving about it, they heard all these other success stories, and so they gave it a shot, and this is what happened, and they were pleasantly surprised, and these are the results. If I have a video, I would also make it downloadable most of the time. Some people say you shouldn't do that because you want them to watch it right then and there, but I guess because I've always consumed content, I'm an audiophile, so I like to listen to it in the car. So I provide an MP3, I provide a transcript also. And that way you're getting the people who like to consume in different modalities. And so you kind of match it to what the belief is that you need to foster.
Perfect.
Yeah, and
just one comment before we go on. So your style is very, people who subscribe to your list know that it's very content-based. You use a lot of content, you create a lot of content, you believe in giving away a lot of value. Not all marketers are like that. Some of them believe more in entertainment than value. And in my experience, both ways work as long as you make a point of selling at the end of the content. We've talked about it before, but if you don't sell, if you don't pitch your products at the end of the content, you become this granddaddy, and once you do want to pitch something, the audience gets upset that you're not giving them away free stuff and just free stuff. So either with content or without a lot of content, you need to remember to sell your stuff at the end of the content.
Exactly. And I should say that I have other than business reasons for giving away so much content. It has something to do with who I want to be in the world, and I know there are a lot of people who can't really afford. I mean, it's hard to believe people couldn't afford what we charge in the Alpha Wolf Den for the level of service we provide. But there are a lot of people they're frightened. Maybe there are a lot of people they're in a third world country where the money's a lot more to them than it is to us. And I just want to be someone in the world that is helping the larger populace. You could make an argument that it's possible that I could help more people if I were more aggressive in absolutely optimizing every last penny I could get out of the list. And if I wanted to do that, I would give away less content. I would sell more. In some cases, I would charge more. So I don't want people to think that I have financially optimized every piece of my list. I do want them to think that my style works, because it does. But if maximum dollars is really the goal, then probably you would do more entertaining and more telling people what to do but not how to do it. If you tell people what to do but not how to do it, they want to pay you to learn how to do it. And I have always preferred the kind of client that knows that, look, I'll tell you how to do it, a lot of it for free, but if you want me to really customize it for you and give you much more step-by-step instructions, then why don't you come pay me and I'll help you out with that stuff. So that's what I have to say about that.
Well, yeah, but both ways work, so you just need to pick your style.
Yeah.
There are people out there which I very much appreciate and value their style and value their teaching, that says that content-based marketing doesn't work at all, and it only gets you the worst customers. And yes, Ben Settle, I'm talking about you, but you're wrong. It does work. We both know that.
That's funny. Well, and the other thing is that maybe you have to write a few more emails to get the same results the way that I do it, but it makes me happier to run the kind of business that I want to run, and so that's what I do.
Okay, so let's move back to the organic traffic. I have a couple of topics I'd like to discuss in that area. Is that okay, Glenn?
Of course it is. That's really your expertise, not mine.
Okay, so we won't go into SEO and all the actions that come along with it, because it's really not our expertise. But I would like to talk about using giveaways or sign-up bonuses to get people to sign up from organic traffic. There's an important concept there, and the concept is the content upgrade. So once you have a blog or you have a website that's getting decent organic traffic, search traffic, you can use the giveaway to get people to sign up, but it has to be an extension of the content on the blog. And I'll explain. If you remember, we talked about congruency with the ad. We said that the giveaway bonus has to be a logical extension of what we talked about in the ad. Well, it's the same thing with organic traffic. The sign-up bonus for a particular page has to be in line, or for a particular article has to be in line with what the article talks about. So if you're talking about building great products in the article, and that's what drove the organic traffic to the page, then the content upgrade, the sign-up bonus, needs to be an extension to that information. So you can talk about 9 technological tools that help you create products. So that will be the sign-up bonus, and once they finish reading the article about best practices in creating info products, then they need to sign up to get the 9 tools that help them do just that.
That's important. I forgot how many clients come to me with a mismatch like that. So that's important. I would take that for granted, but yes, I'm glad you said that.
And it's not, when you have a blog, when you've got hundreds of pages and on all different kinds of subjects, it's easy to think that you need to come up with the perfect sign-up bonus and then use it on all your blog pages, but that actually doesn't work. What you need to do is you need to figure out which topics or which categories you cover on your blog, and you probably already have because the articles are probably categorized into specific categories. So you have to come up with a content upgrade for a specific category. And once you do that, your sign-up rate will increase tremendously. Another cool thing you can do is you can figure out which pages are driving most of the traffic. So you apply the 80-20 rules to the concept of content upgrades, and if you figure that 10 or 20 of the articles on your blog are driving 90% of the traffic, you can customize a different content upgrade for each one of those, so the content upgrade matches exactly to the content of the article, and that can increase conversion rate from 2.5% or 4% to 20 or 25%. So it can potentially multiply your sign-up rate by 10.
Just go over that step by step for a second. Let me parrot back what I think you're saying. What you're saying is the articles that you write, and let's say you've written 100 articles over the course of a couple of years. You're saying that if you analyze the organic traffic that is attracted by those articles, you will probably find 5 or 10 of them that are responsible for half. And so,
at least.
And so rather than looking at the constellation of 100 articles and all the content that they cover and trying to create an opt-in bonus that's consistent, that would match all 100 articles, you find those 5 or 10 articles that are responsible for the majority of the traffic, and you customize the opt-in bonus to connect to those 5 or 10 articles. And yeah, is that what you're saying?
Just to make sure that we're precise here, you create an opt-in bonus for each article separately.
Oh, I see. Since there's only 5 or 10 of them, I see.
Right. Then it's 100% congruent with the article.
I see. So for example, on my blog, if I find that 65% of the traffic comes from these 5 articles, one is about how to overcome
why
price.
you're failing why copywriters go broke.
Okay. And then on the Copywriters Go Broke article, I have 7 unusual things copywriters can do to increase their income. And then there's another article on my blog that's about overcoming price objections. And so I have an article that says, an unusual method.
7 bonuses you can add to your products to increase price.
Okay. And so
or lower price objections.
And so you do an 80-20 analysis, and you ask yourself, how much traffic am I getting? And if I could double or triple the opt-in rate on these particular pages that are responsible for most of the traffic, what would I offer them? And then you provide kind of those segmented opt-in bonuses, and now you've doubled or tripled your opt-in rate overall.
And your business, yeah.
And okay, that's really smart. That's really valuable.
Cool.
So let's move. You know a thing or two. I think I'll keep you.
Thank you. Good. So let's talk about products. I have a statement, and I'm curious to know if you agree with me. I think that writing good sales copy or effective sales copy is the most complicated thing about internet marketing. It's the toughest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to learn. Do you agree?
Yeah, because Ken McCarthy once told me that copywriting isn't really the right word. It's the word we have to use because we're putting words on paper in order to sell stuff. But copywriting is really business detecting and learning to detect where the value is in the business and how to phrase that value in benefit-laden terms that increase purchase motivation. That's it requires you to be a very experienced business person to do that. It's really not just having a proclivity for words. It's really understanding markets and people and how to match the offer to the people and how to present the offer to the people. It is the most difficult thing. I agree.
So let's say you're starting out. How would you overcome, this huge learning curve?
How would I Well, I'm a research-based guy, and so I say let the market tell you rather than sit and stare at a blank piece of paper. I say let's do surveys and focus groups, and let's zero in on the bullseye keyword. If you can only advertise one keyword on the internet, since the internet is really still indexed by keywords regardless of social media and everything like that. If you want to know what your site is about, one of the major platforms is going to come spy to your site and read the text and figure out what your site's about, and it's going to isolate a particular keyword as your center of gravity, and then it's going to try to send you relevant traffic based upon the distance from that hypothetical center. And so I think that people need to decide for themselves what is their center of gravity. If they could only advertise on one keyword on the internet, what would that keyword be? And once you know that, then I think you can go to social media. You can go to Twitter or Facebook and look at what people are talking about on those keywords. You can look at Facebook groups. You can look at you can look at other forums. You can go to Amazon and see what books are selling. You can look at the reviews for those books and read all the language in the reviews. And so I think that it's better to immerse yourself in the market and see what that language and the concerns of the consumer are, and start to get that on paper and start to translate that to benefits. I think that's more important than reading a million copywriting books. Because, like I said, it's the detection of what the consumer really wants that's more important than how to say it. That having been said, I do think you should read a million copywriting books, but just not as the first order of business. I would read The Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy. I'd read Tested Advertising Methods. I would read Scientific Advertising. I would read Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, especially the first 4 chapters. What else would you read? I would read Method Marketing by Denny Hatch. What else would you read, Yoav?
I think you covered the main ones.
Yeah. But I would go back and once you have done the research, I would go back and watch. I forget what episode it was that we did Bullets for Bozos, but search our blog, search the custom machine for Bullets for Bozos, and I would go back and I would watch that. To learn how to write bullets. I would ask my mommy what she thinks. No, I'm just kidding. That's it. I think that's enough to get people started.
Yeah. So I wrote a couple of things. I thought about it actually when we prepared this episode. I sat down and thought about what I would advise now for people just starting out, and because we're not in this situation, we've already read a ton of copywriting books and we've written dozens of sales letters, so we're not just starting out. And what I would advise people just starting out is the following. I'd advise them to really do the research, and you covered that fantastically. And then I would advise them to zoom in on a particular problem that they learned about, something that the audience they cater to really wants, and create a golden glove description of the problem. We've talked about this in previous episodes. The golden glove is a technique that Glenn and Terry developed that really creates a persuasion architecture for a product or a service, and it's built out of 5 elements. A description of the problem the product is solving, what's the unique solution that the product is offering, that you're offering, what's the irresistible offer that you're giving your customers in order for them to buy the product, what is the undeniable proof you have that the product works, and what is the reason or what is the strong reason to buy your product now. If you want to learn more about how to build a Golden Glove description, I would go to the previous episode. We've talked about it. We had an episode about the perfect conversion example. I think it was the perfect conversion example, and we described the Golden Glove in length. So once you zoom in on your product, figure out what's the Golden Glove strategy, and then I'd either do one of two things. Either if like I was really broke, I'd buy a copywriting template, and then Kennedy has it in his perfect sales letter book. I think it costs less than $10. So you can buy the book, you get a template, and you use the information you already have along with the bullets you've already written to fill out the template. Follow the instructions. It shows you how to write a headline, how to write the opening copy, how to write the bullets, how to close. So just follow that template. And if I had a bit more money, I'd hire a copywriter, give him all that research and the product description, and ask him to write the sales letter for me.
Yeah. Good.
And that's it.
Cool. Well, why don't we stop there for today? And do you want to say more about the products before we do, or we can pick it up next time?
We'll pick it up next time.
Very good. I think this was very rich. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Thanks for your time and attention. For more information about the products and services we offer to help dramatically grow your business, please visit thecustomermachine.com. On behalf of Glenn and Yoav, thanks for listening.